Hi everyone, we have this week Bani with us from Google for Education. Hi Bani, how are you?
Hi, Anushree. Hello, everyone.
So Bani, as discussed, we are talking about businesses going back to, coming back to business, and amongst that is also education as a huge sector, right? And now that we are talking about schools opening up and exams being held offline, so if you have to give me an idea about the way education sector has evolved in the last 1 year with the pandemic and online classes taking over.
Yes, absolutely. I think it has been in some way, very, very humbling to see what we have been able to achieve, both in the education sector and also how, each one of us have been touched by education and what has happened in the education space. What is really coming out very clearly is that there were a lot of students and teachers and parents who had to very quickly adapt to an online learning environment. It was important because it ensured that we are able to have stability, have a normal connect with our schools and our teachers, and also for social and emotional security. So what has happened is that there has been billions of people across the world who have actually come online looking for learning and education, whether it's on search or YouTube or Google Classroom or Chromebooks. And that's very, very true for India as well.
When the pandemic hit, I wanted to ask you, how quickly did you prepare the schools or the institute or the teachers or the students with, you already had a bunch of tools available, right? But then to take them back into your daily lives and make it a part of your daily life. So how did you go about this upskilling program of teachers plus schools plus students and everybody else?
Good question. Again, what is really commendable is how all the community came together, whether it was the teacher community, the school leaders, the parents, and the students themselves, who quickly adapted to an environment where they were keen to continue learning. And one of the most important things that we launched at the time, at the very beginning of the pandemic, was Teach from Anywhere Hub. What happened is that all of the resources, education resources that would help them come online quickly and continue learning were part of this hub. We were able to launch these in several Indian languages to support remote learning. And very specifically, in addition to providing, resources like Google Classroom, Chromebooks, and G Suite for Education, what we were able to do is to partner and deliver high impact online learning to build teacher capacity. I think teacher was front and center. Teacher was director of this model. So specifically to India, we did partnerships with CBSE and Kendriya Vidyalayas. We partnered with education ministries of Delhi and Maharashtra to embark on large scale education, capacity building efforts. Here, what we were trying to do was not only provide an environment where synchronous learning could happen using our tools and technology, but also how do we enable teachers to actually use online resources that were available in terms of YouTube videos or curriculum specific videos or some content that they had developed on their own in their local languages to be used on our platforms like Google Classroom. And we also encouraged a lot of training to take care that it was not just about the synchronous learning, but also asynchronous learning, where assignments were shared by the teacher to the students. Students' worksheets were developed in their local languages. There was a lot of effort made to say which classes will be best suited to do the synchronous learning and for what period of time, and then carry that forward with the asynchronous models where worksheets, online assignments using Google Forms, etc. happened.
Understood. So I was also reading about, a swath of new features which have been included in the G Suite, a workspace for education. From here on, the way I see education moving is blended learning that we have been talking about, a
Yeah.
combination of synchronous and asynchronous learning, right?
Mhm.
So how will these new features actually help the schools or institute prep for what is coming, in the future? Because we are going to live a hybrid model of life for the next 1 or 2 years, right?
Yes, absolutely. We all will need to find that balance. So we've all been through this, let's adapt to what we have, let's work with what we have to now providing a more long-term view. I think the bigger task for school leaders and educators and teachers and policymakers is to understand what is their ecosystem and how will technology support them. It's because that's the enabler piece. We're able to do teacher training at scale. We're able to democratize access to content with these technologies. So in the blended learning model, there will be several things that we'll need to consider to make it successful. One of the most important pillars that we believe is the content and platform ecosystem that needs to be developed. Each ecosystem in a state or each ecosystem in a school system, whether it's a private school or a public school, is unique. So what we'll have to understand is the nuances of what kind of content is available, that the teacher is fully supported to provide, a foundation level classroom. And in our case, Google Classroom is the learning management system where teachers are not only able to use video resources, but they are also able to share assignments and also derive analytics out of it. So that becomes really, really critical. The second piece that will be really important is how are we tackling with access? In all of the research reports that we have done, what really stands out is that we need to address that piece, both on the teacher side as well as the student side. And when I talk about access, I mean stable internet connection, and devices that are able to, let the student and the teachers interact both in the synchronous and asynchronous mode. And the future will be about how all of these pillars, access, content, platform, as well as teacher training, is able to come together for your school systems.
One last question. I know you said you've tried out with Kendra Vidyalayas, and we have always talked about how it's easy for private institute to go and adopt a technology, and equally difficult for a government in a school, to go and adopt and ensure that everybody has it in that environment, right? So
Yeah.
how do you see that changing over the next 1 year, and the kind of role Google plays to, change that?
Yeah, I think very clearly, again, some systems have more familiarity with technology. And this is why private schools, even today, are able to say, we will come back into schools only when required. And that's why, all the surveys have been done with the parent. But what is very important, even in those systems, is that we keep in mind that everybody does want to get back to school. School is going to be the system that we're all comfortable with. The children are looking forward to that, but it needs to be safe. So I think one of the big criteria for selecting, what to do is there. From a Google perspective, whether it's the private school system or the public school system, we believe that in each of these pillars, in providing access and providing our platform, the right content, in the local language, and being able to support the teacher and being assistive to a teacher will be the most important role that we will play. With all that we have introduced as features in the Google Workspace for Education, it is very clearly to support that growing need. Not only have the number of users who are, online and learning online has increased, it's also their needs have evolved. So whatever we thought was as fundamental has moved to the next level of, now I want to be able to completely manage my classes online and make sure that I have analytics to say which student is attentive and which is not. How do I actually get learning outcomes data from my, Google Classroom? So those asks have evolved. So what we will do is to service our users that are more evolved, is that our tools already support it. And what we really need to do in the public school system is to support them in this journey. And it is a long-term journey. It will require, all of us to come together and invest in that ecosystem. But I think there have been good learnings, and our teachers and our policymakers and our school leaders are very excited in this journey. Of course, the students just want, technology in their lives all the time now. Yeah. That is for sure.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I think technology will play a huge role in our lives from here on. And I think one of the bigger challenge will be to maintain that balance between normal life and technology-driven life. But yes. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for being part of this discussion. It was nice talking to you.
Pleasure, Anushri. Thank you so much.
Thank you.